Welcome to Untold Horrors, the podcast where your hosts, Jamie and Steph, sacrifice their free time, and probably their sanity, to mine the depths of Tubi in search of hidden treasures. Each week, they'll fire up Tubi, spin the roulette of despair, and let Tubi's keyword search decide their fate. Join your intrepid explorers as they laugh, scream, and occasionally question their life choices, one obscure horror flick at a time. Untold Horrors, because Tubi's algorithm has no mercy, and neither do we. Let the roulette spin, and let the suffering begin.
Here's how to play Tubi Roulette. Go to Tubi, type in a search term, hit enter, and quickly scan the options. Pick a film in 60 seconds from the first 9 to 12 results. No scrolling. No trailers. No mercy.
Let the games begin.
Okay, so just to clarify, what I hear you saying is that the second that the sun starts to go down a little bit, they ring the Silent Hill alarm to tell you that you have to get back inside.
I've never interpreted it.
Pyramid Head is coming? Like, what the fuck is happening? Why? Why are they sounding alarms?
You're adding some very creative things onto it.
No, I'm not. That was a Silent Hill alarm. That was the alarm from Silent Hill.
I don't know. I don't know the logic or the reason. It's not a command. It's not like, go. It's like,
what's the point?
Hey, kids, you should be. Well, I don't know why. I don't know, because we still live in the 50s here. I don't know. But when it, and not the first sign of dark, when it pretty much, the sun is like behind all the mountains and the sky's like dark purple. Like the siren usually goes 5 o'clock during one part of the year and 6 o'clock during the other part of the year. And I mean, it's not like illegal if you're still on the street or nothing. It's not like that.
So
it's just
every fucking day when the sun sets, the Silent Hill alarms go off.
Yes, that's what they do.
Anyway, let's talk about this fucking movie. Okay, so Jamie, it was your turn to pick the theme this week.
Yes.
And you picked...
I forget what I picked.
I didn't forget because I was like, the fuck? You picked candy horror.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, tell me what the hell candy horror is.
I just wanted to put... Well, you see...
Like, give me an example of candy horror. What's your favorite candy horror movie?
I can't. That's why
exactly.
That's why I put it in. I wanted to see.
That's not the point. That's not the point.
The point is to find
No. I had abysmal choices. And so the only thing that looked remotely, one that was even close to like a horror really, and that wasn't like some just random bullshit, was a movie called Horror Hotel, which happened to be an anthology, which probably made you really happy because you like anthologies a lot.
Well-made ones, I do, yes.
So
I give away my...
So we watched Horror Hotel, which is from 2013. And I don't have my notes because of technical problems, but it was originally a web series. And they basically, this anthology movie, basically all they did was took, I think it's season 2 of the web show, and just put it out as a movie. And so there's no wraparound. There's no sort of like reason for being. It's just, I mean, I guess there's a unifying that all the stories take place at a hotel. So you have that sort of connective tissue. But other than that, it's really just a bunch of segments. And doing my research, this series bills itself as, I'm trying to do this from memory, but it's something like Twilight Zone meets Alfred Hitchcock, And I mean, that's certainly like a lofty description of your programming.
Yes, it is. This wasn't. I mean, there were two that I was very impressed with. But the first one, I'm sorry, I probably wasn't supposed to jump ahead. I didn't like the atmosphere of it. It was like silly.
Well,
you know?
So it's definitely not
overacted.
So
Yes.
this is, I think there's 6. I would have to like look, but it's something like that. There's like 6 different
There's
stories.
quite a few of them.
There's a bunch. And it's definitely more sort of leans more heavily towards sci-fi B-movie camp than horror. I would say very little really anything really horrific, if anything at all. It is definitely leaning into camp. It's definitely, I think, intentionally sort of goofy and funny and over the top. And I'm not saying that as a criticism, honestly. Like, I don't hate that. I don't hate movies that just are like campy fun. Sometimes that's a really good time.
Yeah, but I don't know. I have a harder time digesting them when it's not just like a direct comedy, like a Monty Python or a Farrelly Brothers comedy, things like that. I have a really hard time with horror comedy. It took me a little while, meaning like a few minutes, to get into this, the first one, and hence the rest of it. But once I got used to the overacting and the I think the word is the pantomime of it. I don't know, you're better at words than me. I was like waving their hands. Oh my God. Like, I got into it. But the tone of each story shifted a tiny bit with each one. I mean, some of them plot-wise were just silly, but other ones were like, if you gave this to David Fincher or to, some type of master macabre director, like these little shorts could really hit hard.
I mean, I would say that I did like that they were all very different. And I did like the tonal shift, because I think that's fun in an anthology, because the whole really like benefit of an anthology is that I think you just know going, with very few exceptions, you just sort of know going in that it's going to be a hodgepodge. It's going to be a mixed bag, and you're going to like some of it and you're going to not like some of it. And what makes it fun to watch is that everything's pretty short. And if you're not into one story, you're like, well, that's fine. We're about to get something different. And it keeps you on your toes, and it keeps like throwing new shit at you. And I honestly did think I struggled with this one, because like I expected it to be a piece of shit. I expected it to be real garbage. And I didn't think it was garbage at all. I thought it was like pretty like competently done for, like a indie low budget web streaming type of thing. I thought the acting is over the top, but I thought it was actually pretty fun. Like, they seem like they're having a really good time with it, and it's very investing. And at the end of the day, when I finished watching this, I was like, like it wasn't half bad. Like, it's not something that I'm excited to come on and just trash.
It just didn't, the best way I can put it is it just didn't sit right with me. Although I do appreciate, respect the DIY ethic, sometimes some of these movies just they're ugly. They just don't look good.
Did you think this was ugly?
Yes, very.
Okay.
I'm talking about just visuals now, not screenplay yet.
Oh, I know.
Like, we always, when we talk about anthologies, everybody, I mentioned earlier, I don't like to be a belonger, but here again, Creepshow. Maybe Trick or Treat can compete with number one for Creepshow, but Creepshow is just number one. Now, that had humor in it, But why did Creepshow click and this didn't? Is it because Creepshow had professionals and these are, well, I don't know about amateurs, but younger people, younger filmmakers? Did they want this to hit the way it did? Because I've mentioned other movies in the past that I've watched. I'm sure you've seen a few in the past too. Like, you watch it and you're like, what was I supposed to feel and think when I was watching that? Because like there should be a through line. Like, all right, I see where the director's going with this. I see, okay, I follow. And that's when twists are good. They surprise you. I didn't see that coming. But this whole thing is just a mishy-mashy. But I'll say it again, there were some that I was very impressed with.
Like you said, it's DIY. It's incredibly low budget. It was a web series. So I don't know. I have a little bit of a different perspective because I make a lot of allowances for ultra low budget because, you're doing the best you can with what you've got. And I appreciate minimalist resources. I appreciate creativity, ingenuity. I appreciate, coming up with creative, clever ways to do something different with very little. And honestly, I think that deserves quite a bit of praise and kudos. And I don't think it's fair. And I get it. I get what you're saying. I just don't think it's particularly fair to pick, for any film that you talk about, really, to pick the pinnacle of that subgenre, and say, well, it's no Creepshow. It's just in the same way if I watch a slasher, I'm like, that's no Halloween. Avi, there are films that are extraordinary, and it's fine to, I guess, be inspired by those films, but I don't think you want to hold everything up to that same standard. Like, I did know what they were going for. Like, I definitely got the B-movie, campy, retro sci-fi kind of vibe that they were going for. And honestly,
the surf guitar. Yeah.
I honestly think for the most part, they did a really good job with it. I don't think this is, again, I've said this before, but I don't think this is a bad film. I don't think that this is just an abomination. Like, it's not complete amateur hour schlock. I think there's some real creativity that went into this. I think they're having a lot of fun. I think that comes through. There were some of the stories that I was pretty delighted by. I was pretty captivated.
Yes, definitely.
I just don't think it. I think it's missing something, and I also think that I don't love the idea of just taking a web series and being like, this is the movie version. Like, I feel like that's a little bit of a cheat, and it lacks that cohesiveness that you want from a film. Like a nice wraparound would have been cool. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
No. Yeah. I just think that it needed a little something, and I also think it's. While I appreciate the diversity, it's a lot of stories, and it sort of just like tried my patience. By the end, I was like tired, and it's not that long, but I was tired by the end of it.
The one about clones, I kind of stopped paying attention to and sort of lost after a while.
Which is a shame because that's really it's really fun, and it's really well acted because it's like one woman that's doing all of those different clones, obviously. Okay. And she's, I think she's doing a great job. Like, she's giving each of them like a totally different character and making them feel like different people. And I think that's really fun.
And she played one of the military women in the last one.
Yeah, there's a lot of like crossover acting, which I also think is fun. I enjoy that like family atmosphere where it's like we're a scrappy little filmmaking team and we're just like doing little skits. And I think that's really fun. And I honestly think that this probably works really well as a web series. I think if you're just watching it like, once a week or however, I don't know how it was released, but if you're watching it sort of sporadically, for, 10, 15 minutes at a time, I think that's fun. And I think it probably is, kind of delightful. I think it's just when it's a film, it just starts to like wear thin.
It's interesting. They probably would have, this was on YouTube first, or a web series. Was it like YouTube?
Yeah.
They probably probably would have, they probably got more success with that because they're shorter. And here they've got like 1 hour and 48 minutes of shorts. And it just seems like, well, I mean, I lost patience with some of them. I stuck to it. But the clone one, I got kind of bored with. The Coma Girl, that was a strange one. That wasn't really scary until the end. Or should I say, it wasn't really creepy until the end. That one was okay. I didn't hate the movie, but there were some better than others. And overall, it just gave me that empty feeling that I wish I had words for, but I don't.
I will say, I think the problem is, I think if I was going to offer because it is hard to articulate. It's like, what is wrong with this? One,
yeah.
I do think they could have taken the base stories and like you said, reshot them, reimagined them a little bit, done something a little bit more creative. I think they should have probably had less stories and made this a little shorter and tighter. And then I would have loved like some kind of wraparound. If they would have just shot like a cool wraparound for this, and then had the even just using the already existing web series episodes, I think this could have had a little bit more oomph to it and felt more engaging. I really did there was one, I don't know the name of it, but it was about brain swapping.
That's my favorite one.
It's so good and it's so funny. And both of the actresses are so good in it. And there's a line that I wrote down and it made me laugh, where she keeps saying I'm too rich to be worried. I don't get nervous. I'm too rich to be nervous. And I'm
too important.
I'm too important. That's
important
right.
To die. Yeah.
Or to be worried. I'm too important to be worried, I think is what she said. It's very fun. She's very, that was really delightful. I actually chuckled quite a bit and I could have used more of that. That was really charming.
But the brain one and the military one at the end, I was curious. How did you feel about that one?
Yeah, I liked it.
But I mean, it kind of brought up some interesting questions about, do we need men? Do we want men? Are men harmful?
The answer,
they had all that.
No, we don't need men. No, we don't want men. Yes, men are harmful.
No. I mean, seriously.
Me too. I'm being serious.
If there were no men anywhere, this fucking planet would, and I just mean as far as breeding goes, the world would be dead.
Well, in
this, I don't know how long.
They artificially inseminate in this one. They talk about
that
it.
That is impossible. Where do they get the cum from?
Gross.
Sorry. Where do they get it from? If there's no more men,
maybe they harvested a bunch of it before they before they purged all the men. That's what
you want to harvest. You want to harvest a zygote in your uterus instead of
Listen, one of the things that I was going to say, in all seriousness, was that I did really appreciate how women driven all of these shorts are for the most part. It's very women centric, and I like that. I really liked the last one. And I think in this day and age, in our socio-political landscape, there's a lot of women that can really appreciate a short like that. And it's not because death to all men. It's just because women are so oppressed right now. And there is such an atmosphere of very toxic masculinity. And a lot of your body, my choice kind of bullshit. And, the whole conversation about, do you choose the man or the bear? And all the women are like, the bear. And men are like, are you fucking kidding me? And I'm like, women aren't just saying that to say it or be cute or cheeky. They're saying that because they're genuinely afraid and have spent most of their lives afraid. And it gets really old, the sexism and the objectification and the oppression and the patriarchy and all that shit. It's very fucking old. So the idea of a woman, especially when you think about, would a woman-led society be more peaceful and harmonious and what would that look like? I don't know. I think it's pretty fucking cool. And I liked I liked it. And I don't think, obviously, I don't think that's utopia. Like, utopia is actual equality, right? When we all like can fucking respect each other and get along and both sexes can live harmoniously. That's utopia. But isn't it possible? Is it realistic? I don't know. I don't think so. Not with humans.
One thing I was thinking about when I was watching that was, okay, would the world be better with all women or all men? And I didn't even have to think that much. It would definitely be better with all women. Men would immediately puff out their egos and start fighting amongst themselves. Finally now, silence your tiny woman brain and let me tell you what it's really all about.
Hell. Ooh. You know, and the problem is too, is that we're recording this kind of early in the day for me and I'm not drinking. And that is really, I'm seeing that's a problem. So we might need to fix that in the future. But go on, tell me your male intellectual thoughts.
I'm not stoned either. So this is a sober podcast.
Well, let's never do that again. Never.
No.
This was a mistake. And I think we've learned our lesson and we shall never make it again.
Gummies and vapes, here I come. Anyway, I thought Horror Hotel was a valiant effort. It could have been shorter. They could have made 2 of those stories an hour long each or 45 minutes long each and put in some real meat and potatoes and meat and potatoes and production value, more production value into them. However, the one about the brain switching and the one about all men on Earth dying, both of those shorts deserve attention. So I actually recommend it so people can, well, go watch it, whatever, but hunt down the brain switching short and the men all die short, because those are clever, thought-provoking. And if you want to see a giant spaceship shaped like an iron, you can do that too.
I think that's actually really good feedback because I do think that these filmmakers deserve your support. I think there is talent here and I think there's creativity. So for sure, go to YouTube and watch these shorts. I'm trying to look up the names so you can find them. I think I liked the clone one more than you, but that one's called The Problem with Clones. I think that's pretty fun. Life After Men is the one we were talking about where the women rule everything. And then the one that we most liked, our favorite, is called Brain Robbers in Love. So I just want to throw that out there so that people can check those out if they want to. I mean, this film here's the thing. I don't think this is a total waste of your time. I don't think you're going to watch it and be like, what the fuck was that? Like, I am so upset I did that. I also don't think you're gonna watch it and be like, oh my God, what an absolute delight. I'm so glad I spent my time that way. It's one of those films that's like, it's not nearly as bad as I thought it was gonna be, but it's not as good as I wanted it to be. It's somewhere in the wasteland in between those two things. I don't hate it. I don't think it deserves to be hated on, but it's also not one I'm ready to rush out and recommend. I'm very tepid and lukewarm on it, but I do think there's a lot of talent here. And I think that just a little bit of polishing and refinement, this could have actually been something really fucking cool. And I hope they keep making shit.
Oh,
if
absolutely.
They're not already.
I agree.
Yeah. Do you have any final thoughts or?
Oh, I was just going to make a joke and say, you said tepid. Do you mean flaccid? That was just immature. And
wow, I'm so glad that you took the time to make sure you were able to get that in. Really, really smart choice. Jesus Christ. Are you serious right now?
I had to do something like that.
Hello?
I don't shut up.